Okay, now that we've got our word of the year for 2021, and hopefully you've written down some notes of what came to you in the meditation, maybe about what that word means to you, any of the colors that you noticed in the meditation that came to you, maybe you had more than one word come in, then your feelings in regards to it. Now that we have all that, we want to create a page in our journal. And I'm just using, this is a journal I've had for a couple different things, and I'm just going to a blank page. Now you could start a whole brand new journal. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to bounce that camera there. You could start with a whole new journal if you wanted to, or just continue on with what you have. And if you don't have a journal, then just a piece of paper will work even. I use wax paper, so, just the generic, or not generic, but, regular type of wax paper to put down between pages. That's just so, try to catch any paint from spilling over into the prior page and changing the look of that page. So what we want to do is gather the colors that either came to you in your meditation or felt, that they may feel that you're drawn to for the word of the year. I'm working in blues, so I'm getting several different blues out here. And my word, I'll share with you, my word for the year is teacher. And teacher there's so many different ways that you can teach. Of course, here I'm teaching a class, but there's so many different aspects to teaching. But the biggest thing about teaching is communication, which is why I have my main color, I feel, is blue. Now, what also came to me is for students, the color yellow for some reason, and I can't explain why, other than I can think is that when you combine yellow and blue, you get green, which is growth, which is all about learning. Learning is about growth. So I feel there's going to be some yellow and maybe some green in this, and I'm not certain. So yellow, I feel like represents students. And as a teacher, I'm going to be both learning and teaching, because it's never one way. It's always a two-way street. There's a give and take. So sometimes the teacher's the student, sometimes the teacher's the teacher. And anyway, so I've got my colors here now, some of the colors that I may use, and I'm going to go ahead and start my spread. I kind of like doing the little spray, where you spray the water with the inks. So I'm going to just do a few spots with that. And I think I'm going to start out with my blue. Make sure again, if you watch any of my videos, anytime I use these acrylic inks, I remind you, oh, I didn't get enough water on that page for it to move. You don't want to super soak your pages, but you want to make sure there's enough on there for the ink to move. Oh, that really worked there. Ooh, a little too much, going wrong. Going to the edge. If you don't want it to dribble off the edge, just grab yourself a piece of paper, or a piece of paper towel is what I was meaning to say, not paper. And you can just set it there, kind of soak it up. It may dribble onto the next page, and that's why I have, the whatever that's called, the wax paper on the other side. But okay, so we've got some blue going on, a little bit more water there. I think I'm going to put some of this blue in and just kind of let it flow. think this page I'll do a little bit of green and yellow. Oh, and it's helpful sometimes before you spray the water, get the lids off your inks because otherwise your water's drying up while you're trying to get the lids off. I can see I don't have a lot of water there, but that's okay. I think I'm going to leave it that way this time. See, I sprayed the water again and I forgot to get my lid off. Ooh, and on these inks, sometimes the lids like to get tight. I don't know if I put them on really tight or if they just tightened up probably as the ink, if there's ink on the edge of the rims, they just kind of dry up and then tighten up a bit. So we got a little yellow, and that's more of a teal color. I wanted green. Let's get some green. Maybe we'll put the green over here now. Actually, I'm going to drop some right in there. Ooh. There. And grabbing another piece of paper towel because I want to just soak up some of this excess water. I like doing this. Okay. This to me is kind of fun, and I never know what I'm going to get when I do it, but I like to close my page. Make sure you don't have any ink on your hand as you're doing this if you're doing it on, if you're working with a page that you'd already colored. But now I'm just kind of rubbing these together. And I'm going to pull them apart. Now look at that. Now there's a lot of ink right here. I don't want that to soak through, so I'm just dragging that through, and I think I'm going to close it one more time. Okay. Now that's an interesting look. That's definitely giving you a combination. If you talk about the colors blue and yellow being the teacher and the student, and you definitely have teaching, student, teacher, student, and the combination of the two going here. I'm going to dry this real quick. Now, I have to say, there are days where I get done doing the inks like I did on here, and I really like how they turn out, and I almost hate to put anything else over them because they're just so interesting. I like this, and for me now, again, you're going to be doing your colors. You're going to put them on however you feel like it. If you didn't have the sprays to do the inks to do it this way, you could just put your colors on however it feels you feel guided. Now, what I want to tell you is, as I'm looking at this, and because the angle you're at, you may not see it like I do, but it's very odd to me. I almost see like the pelvic region here. It's like this is your pelvic bone. It's just something in the shape. And I was sitting here now and I'm thinking, how does that relate to teaching? Well, when you teach, you help people in some ways. It's like you help birth new ideas in someone because you're sharing something that you may know and they may not know or know as deeply as you do. So it's to help birth new ideas, new thoughts, potentially new beliefs. Um, so that is I want to say, a very sacred position to be in. So the shape that came out to me is very perfect for what my word is. Um, anyway, so I just wanted to kind of share that here with you. What we want to do now is once you get your background, kind of look in how you like it. Now, if you did the inks, we can also add in some just regular markers or your regular acrylics. I think I'm going to leave mine like this just because I like the way it looks. Now, um, if you're once you're done with doing your background, what we can do now is add in some stencil work. And I'm just gonna grab a couple different stencil designs and see which one really calls to me. This is one of my favorite ones here. Yeah. They're all stuck together. I like that one. Probably should have gotten these all together beforehand, but I just kind of go with the flow. So I just wait until I get going because sometimes you may have an idea in your mind, but when you get the colors on and they start blending, it shifts completely where you're going. So I think I might need to get some bubble wrap out. Ooh, trees might be a good one too because they represent growth. I'm not sure about that one. Okay, so I have a bunch of stencils here, and I suggest that you look through your stash, see what you have, and see what might feel right to you for your word, or even if you're not sure how they fit into your word, if there's something that bring you joy, um, pull them in. For me, I see the feather as for like divine guidance, which when I teach, it's all, I let them guide me. I try to stay out of my head. I just like stars and circles, so that's why I have this one. And this is just random shapes. I think what I want to start with, though, is the branches, this tree one. And let's see, what colors do we want to go? Because this particular stencil I have to keep in mind. What I'm looking at is it's I can't remember how you call it. It's like the opposite effect. That's what I'm just going to call it now, the opposite effect. So it's like working in the negative space. So instead of the cutout being the design, that's the background, you could say, and then that's the non-cutout parts is actually the design. So I think I am going to grab probably a little white. Little white? No. Yes. Here we go. Go back and forth. Yes, no, yes, no. What am I doing? I don't know. Well, yes, we're just going to grab a little bit of white because I want to give a different color, feel of a different color. And I have, if you haven't used them yet, you can order, instead of using wax paper sometimes, or, figuring out what to use for a palette, you can order deli paper, like from Amazon. I use these also for my jelly art when I do jelly prints, but I just realized, they work great for a palette as well. So let me just get my little smusher. Some paint on this. All right. So we're just gonna go here and see how it turns out. Kind of moving in the wind. Branches are trying to move on me like they're moving in the wind. All right. Put a little bit more paint on here. Didn't have quite enough. Of course, I stuck my finger in the paint. So I need to come up here. We're just stenciling along. This was a stencil I found a couple of years ago. I think I know it was at one of the craft stores. I'm not sure exactly which one. I don't know if they're still available or not. They're a neat little one. I didn't realize it was a reverse effect when I bought it. I don't know why. It didn't click with me. So that's kind of how it looks. Not sure about it, but hey, it's putting something on here, something different. We'll see. I think after I go in and I outline some more on it, I'll like it a little better. I want to put some stars because you know what? You always have your star pupils. So I'm going to put a few little stars in here. And I think we're going to put, yeah, I'm going to go with the yellow. I know, that's a normal color. Maybe I'll mute it out. I'll just put some yellow on this white on my palette. Just blend a little bit of yellow in. Actually, I'm going to need to, since I'm putting some yellow in it, I want to move it down to a darker area because up here it would just blend in too much. So we're not going to do the whole thing. We're just going to do a few of these. There we go. Got a few stars in here. Oh, and by the way, what I'm using, these are, I'm not sure if they were like the Reflections brand or Tim Holtz, but these are usually used for alcohol inks to stencil with alcohol inks, or other inks. I also use them though for my regular paints. Just want to make sure that, and these little, they have replacement discs, so you can take these off and put new ones on. These can be washed. Just don't let them soak too long, because you'll find out they separate from their little felt gripper piece. And also don't leave them like this and let them dry, because then they're stuck to whatever you're using, or you set them on. So you do want to wash them up fairly quickly afterwards so they don't dry up. Let's see, I need some other color. I'm realizing I need a different color, something other than yellow, green, blue, and the white. The white's just not standing out to me at the moment. I want something darker, something richer. I'm looking at pink right now, and I think that's because I like to put pink in. I just love this color, so I'm just going to throw some random dots over here. Pink out. And I'll tell you what, if you like blues, purple, and pink, this was a Jane Davenport set, and it came with these colors here. I love them. And there's, I think, one other color that came in it, but I'm not sure which one it was, because I've got a couple of these sets. Can't find them in the stores anymore right now, so you probably have to either go to her website or possibly Amazon if you wanted to get some. But I love the colors, and in fact, I noticed she's coming out with a lot of new stuff this year. There was, I think she has even where you can mix your paints, make your own paints. She just gives you the pigment, and then there's palettes that you can mix them into, or you can put them in pens. I just like some of those options to do, because I just think it's fun. Another way to create. So here I'm just putting in these circles. And you could say, in a way, like how the stars, they say, kind of represent the students, because you have your, you might have your star student. Well, the circles also represent them too. And I'll explain a little more in just a minute. Just want to get some of this color on. Okay. So how I look at it with these circles is that each one, get my pencil here to show. So your students, even if they're in the same grade, if you were teaching in school, they're all at varying levels. Just, all of us are at varying levels. So some of us may have a little bit more knowledge or awareness than others. And nothing right or wrong about it, just showing the little bit the differences. And to me, this is the reminder. And the same here, you could say, with looking at the stars, the different sizes. It's a reminder that when I reach out and I'm teaching, whether it's conscious teaching or not, I have students in front of me at various stages in their life, various wisdom and knowledge within. And, some of them are going to be teaching me, some of them I'm going to be teaching them. They're all, it's for me to be aware, just to be aware of all that I'm working with. Let's see. I just want to put some other little designs on here. I'm just going with all these little dots. I think I want to do a little bit of black this time. Instead of using my oh no, I'm going to go with brown. Well, if I can find my brown, here it is. And this time I'm going to use my inks. I'm just going to shake it up a little bit. Move these over. And the brown to me is about reminding me to stay grounded. You could say the trees are kind of that too. Should have probably done the trees with the brown. Oh well. All right, well, this brown is actually kind of mixing. I had yellow on this stamp also, so it's going to be a combination. But it's making it actually a lighter brown. I'm just going to put some, maybe put some dots here. I'm not even going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to do a few there. I think I'm going to do just a few here. Oh gosh, I hope I'm not shaking you guys up too much. This table isn't as sturdy as I thought it was, I guess. Yeah, this one I just feel like putting it all over. So we're just going along, putting them wherever you feel like it. And I think I want a few more right here. I'm actually going to overlap the other ones. Out of ink, so I need to add a little bit more to my palette. These may be a little darker. We're just going to throw some right here. And these I'm just putting on for fun. No real reason other than that. Just feels like fun putting on some dots and some tiny dots. Actually, I want a few more right here. Okay, Kathleen, don't get so aggressive with your smushing around here. You know, you don't have to rock the table all over the place. Okay, so we got a few there. I mentioned earlier the feathers reminded me of bringing in spirit and working with spirits. So I think we'll do a feather in here as well. And these can, how dry is that? All right, I'm gonna just kind of overlay them. Actually, I think I'm gonna use the stencil just as it is. 3 of them, just kind of, I know, I put dots here and now I'm gonna cover them up, but that's how life is sometimes. You know, we just do it that way. Now, what color I'm going to go with, just to bring out something different. Not that I haven't already, but I'm going to go with this purple. Actually, yes. Yeah, I argue with myself sometimes. I'm going to do this or not. I was thinking of using my inks, but I want this purple. So I'm going to, actually I'll use my one that I did the pink in, because if they blend, it's going to give a decent color. You know. So just gets to there's just enough in here. Now we're going to start moving. Normally I swirl, but sometimes with these stencils, especially if they got fine points, when you swirl, they kind of go all wonky. So I'm going to just kind of smush it. Pull it, I guess is really what I'm wanting to say. Pull it, but actually when you think about it, it kind of gives it more a feathery effect. You know, you get all the little bits and pieces of the feather going. A little bit more paint on here. Now, again, you're just working with the colors that feel right for you. Oh, shoot, I moved it a little bit. colors that feel right for you, and whatever designs you want to pull in. And they don't have to even have any meaning at all to or any relation to your word. You could just pull some designs in just because you like them. You know, because that if you like them, that brings joy into you, and joy will help you no matter what as you're moving through the year. So here I am. I'm going to put this last feather in. Oops, I moved it again. All right, I think that's about right. I'm mainly concerned about the one I'm working on right now. Oh, okay, this one's just, sometimes they like to be ornery. See how, I'll show you, you'll see more when I pull it up, how I'm able to kind of give it a streaky effect by using this and just pulling it. The main thing you want to remember when you're doing that is you're going to pull it from the edge to the center. Otherwise, you may have a hot mess on your page. I probably have a hot mess anyways. I tend to work in hot messes. That's all about me learning how to let go of perfection. All right, so we got all my feathers from Spirit on here, and let's see. Oh, well, you can't see the whole thing. I'm gonna move the camera a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't get too difficult here. I'm gonna bring it over just so you can see. I don't know if you can tell or not, but now I've got like the little lines going almost like they're the feathers. You know, the little wispies on the feathers. Yeah, I went outside the line a little bit, but that's okay. So that's how this side is looking. I forget sometimes that you can't see that side when I'm doing a 2-page spread, so I apologize for that. Let me set this camera back down again. Make sure it's not on the book. Okay, we got things there. That's better lined up, I think. So, ink all over or paint all over myself. Time to wash up. Now, sometimes you might want to just limit your colors to just only one or two, do more of a monochromatic look. Other times you may want to put every single color you can think of. It's all just about how it feels to you. And I'm not doing a whole lot more to this. I'm wanting to keep this one simple. I just feel simple is better for me. So what I want to do is dry this up a little bit so then we can do detail work. Oh no, I just bumped into one of my paintings behind me that's full of glitter and had a shower of glitter fall on me. All right, here we go. Okay, I didn't have a whole lot that needed dried since I did a fairly thin layer on here. What I want to do now is start outlining. I'm going to start off with silver, black, and white. trying to check, see if I had a brown. I don't have a brown, so we're just going to use these colors. And I'm debating white or silver for my feathers. I think I'll start with white. Maybe I'll just do one of each. Well, or that could be two of one and one of the other. We'll see. We'll just start out here. Just gonna outline it the best we can. And this, you want to find a color that's gonna help them pop a little bit. Just kind of call them out a little more so they're not so flat looking. And if you're like me and you kind of go over the edge, that's okay. And you don't have to outline like whatever you stenciled in. It's all up to you and how you like your art. That's what I like about art. It's all subjective. It's all how you interpret. And sometimes when I outline, I can be very meticulous and like want to get everything just perfect. Other times, like now, I'm just kind of almost like sketching the outline. I'm still taking my time with it though. I see some artists where they just go kind of haphazardly around and leave it at that. It all, like I said, it all depends on your style. And my style may not be your style. And that's perfectly okay. Or maybe you only like little bits and pieces of mine. Here we go. All right, so this one is done in the white. So that does help it pop a little bit more. If I wanted, I could take, we'll see how this looks. You know how you have that vein going up? I guess I could just pull it all the way down. And then if I wanted to, I could just kind of throw little pops of the veins going this way. Wasn't what I intended to do when I put these on, but for some reason I was called to it. And if anything, this kind of shows you how you can make them look a little different and more than just the basic stencil can add to it. Did I put my arm in the paint? No. Good. All right, so we'll try this one in silver. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm liking how this one doesn't seem to pop as well, but you don't know until you try. That's the thing. Sometimes, especially in art, you just have to try something. You get an idea in your head, go for it. What's the worst that can happen when you're creating a piece of art? You may say, okay, I don't like it. Now, let's say if you were doing a painting and it was a portrait of some sort and you really liked how it looked before you started painting it, you liked the sketch that you had of it, one thing you could always do is you could trace out that sketch on tracing paper so you still have it exactly how you liked it, and then you can copy it on another page if you didn't like how your piece turned out. And here with art journaling, it's really all about just being in the moment, noticing how you're feeling, what's calling to you, putting it down on paper, sort of like with writing, just, written journaling, writing journaling, however you want to call that. When you're truly journaling, it just doesn't matter how good it sounds or anything like that. It's just a matter of getting what's inside you out. I'm going to turn this around so I can reach the other one better. And I think I'm going to do this one in black. So they each have their own little outline. I love to journal on, regular journaling, where you're writing. Some days I just don't feel it, so that's where the art journaling can come in. Because you can find that maybe you don't have words to express how you're feeling or what you're wanting to say. They may not, or the combination of words may not be coming to you, but you can still express that feeling through color. It's just giving you a different way to express it vibrationally, because each color has its own vibration. And here you think about it, I pulled purple to represent spirit, working with the divine. And actually, to me, it's working with the divine and the cosmos, because the way I look at it is, I say cosmos. Some people would say, like, I have, honestly, I don't like using this word anymore, but alien, off-world energies. And I look at that as, I call it cosmic energy, because I look at us, we're alien to other worlds, so let's not try to make one sound worse than the other. Let's just call it cosmic. We're all cosmic. And the divine and the cosmic energy are really, in some instances, they're the same. It's just a little different vibration. I'll go into that more in another class. Yeah, I felt like pulling in purple. Some people may consider more white than purple for representing spirit, because they may see spirit as being where it's that the purity, pure. Okay, the word that's coming in my head right now is unadulterated. That, and I don't want to say innocent, but that pure. It's more about the pure energy. But I also know some people consider purple the spirit. And I just like the color. I like the color purple. And I have to tell you, every time I say it like that, the color purple, I do think of the movie. Okay, so now we've got our feathers there. That silver sure does not pop, does it? Well, I'm going to leave it for now. I might trace it with white in a little bit. Going back and forth on if I want to add the veins to these or not. So I'm going to do some more outlining and come back to it. Because the yellow is such a light color, I want to outline it in black, because again, we want to make them pop. We don't want them to blend in so much. And this will make the contrast, great contrast. You think about it, you want contrast in your life too. You don't want everything just to blend into one another. I mean, I'll be honest, there are moments where it's like, okay, I just want to blend in. I don't want to stand out. Um, you know, for whatever reason. But most of the time, I want contrast because if everything blended in together and looked the same, to me, that'd be kind of boring. There wouldn't, you know, it just, it's like, okay, we already know what's going to happen. It's just going to be this, this, and this. But if you have some contrast in there, and that's why when you're working with your feelings, it's like, okay, sometimes you feel good, sometimes you don't. And it's bringing you contrast in your life, saying, okay, also what's working, what's not, what can you shift?